on Keep It, when they go low, we pull out the poison and put it in their champagne. Welcome to Keep It, Cricket Media's show about pop culture and politics and what happens when they smack into each other at an alarming speed. I'm your host, Ira Madison III, a television writer and Fall Out Boy fan.
I'm Virtel. I'm a TV writer and Jane Fonda historian.
And I'm Aida Osman. I'm a TV writer and alleged comedian.
Let's get into it. Night one of the DNC, which was virtual this year, sadly, because it was supposed to be in Milwaukee, my hometown, and I had been needling since last year, Cricket to send me and Aaron Ryan, also from Wisconsin, to the convention this year. And then, of course, the world stopped.
Right.
Yes,
immediately afterward, yes.
Anyway, my question is, just in a world where this isn't all happening, do either of you even watch conventions?
I can dial into any public speaking experience because something tricks my brain into believing it's kind of an award show. Like I almost am. It almost is the thing I love. I know it's not, but in
and
a
the
way,
RNC is like the People's Choice Awards then?
right? Or,
Scott Baio, Kimberlyn Brown.
P.S. I just want to say about Scott Baio, which people, including me, were making jokes about yesterday. I said, how is Scott Baio even introduced to a millennial audience? You know him from nothing. Here's Scott Baio. And people on Twitter were coming for me saying, like, Charles in Charge. It's like, if you were even born in 1980, you would have only seen the season finale of Charles in Charge when you were 9. So I don't think that's right either. I
saw it in reruns. I saw it in reruns. But Arrested Development.
There's also something about his face that for some reason has always been imprinted in my memory and consciousness. Like I pull up a photo of Scott Baio and I unfortunately know who he is and what he's done and where he's been.
Weirdly,
he was on VH1 for years.
It's a crack in the system.
Unfortunately, I did watch Scott Baio is 45 and Single, which was VH1's answer to Kathy Griffin's My Life on the D-List, and also not a bad show, which is crazy to say. But otherwise, he's not an icon to my generation, so stop pretending he is. Get out of my mentions. We'll move on now. I want to say I liked watching Michelle Obama in particular this year because she's somebody who I don't need to hear interrupted by applause. She was somebody who had a very straightforward message. You paid attention the whole time. She's captivating that way. It was like listening to her the book on tape of her recent very best-selling memoir, and it was satisfying in that way. So I was happy we got her in that format.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in general, I've had a friend, like back in Nebraska when I was very avidly involved in politics because there was nothing to do. My friend got a superdelegate status. He was just an obsessive Democrat boy who made his way there. So the only reason I wanted to watch it was to try and catch my friend Aaron Radigan, who had become a superdelegate, and then also to watch the white people dancing behind who at the time was Hillary Clinton. But other than that, nothing happened for me. I will say, watch those things.
I think I'm on the record as having said this before, but among the smartest things Hillary Clinton has ever done is not doing the Macarena at that one. She's like kind of bopping to it, but but the hands don't move, which was what she should have done.
She always looks like she's on a marionette. That's kind of how she moves her body, is just puppet-like.
Oh. I mean, conventions are always in and of themselves infomercials and propaganda for the party.
Yes.
And this one in particular was it was extra weird to me because I guess it was also being covered by networks too, but like in the midst of all this, I'm just like, the DNC this year was especially geared towards the Republican voter who is tired of Trump, or, that moderate voter who is like trying to lean left or right, and needs to be convinced. And there were a lot of clips of former Republicans giving like confessionals and just talking about how they voted for Trump in 2016 and now they're voting for Biden and they want the future of America. And I'm like, this is weird, y'all. And I'm not one of those people who is like, the DNC is for younger people. Trying to get out the younger crowd to vote. But my thing is, why aren't you trying to get out the younger crowd to vote? Why is AOC a minute, versus like John Kasich standing in a field, like he's waiting for Dr. Manhattan to arrive. It's just very odd to me, especially with the DNC going digital this year, why you don't at least have one night which is trying to bring in younger voters, particularly because Michelle Obama and Bernie Sanders' speech, who was right before, was very effective too. These are people who are always talking about getting younger people involved, and Michelle, like famously with Barack, are always like, we need our young folks to vote, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm like, well, listening to these old people aren't going to get that done, It won't accomplish it. And I get that you also have to, address older voters too, but they are the dwindling voting class in America, and you should be using this opportunity to reach out to people who are younger.
In 2016, the spring and summer I spent in New York because I was writing for Billy on the Street, I hooked up with a guy, and right afterwards he goes, it was around this time of year, like pre-election stuff, and he had just voted for John Kasich.
Ugh.
What could be worse for me? Literally, now I have to live with that forever, having hooked up with somebody who, on the sly, is voting Repub, and now I have to listen to this guy as if he's like some font of bipartisan knowledge that will help us win this election. Just gross.
There, honestly, Louis, there should truly be a support group for all of us who have accidentally had sex with libertarians, accidentally had sex with centrists, and accidentally had sex with people who voted for John Kasich. Right there. Those are the three people who need to be tended to immediately.
I'll say it. I think my group is the loneliest. I just want to say that. There's not many of us. I don't hear anybody speaking out. Yeah.
Be more vocal. I mean, I think that you're right, Ira, to notice that they're appealing to converts, to Republican converts, more than they're trying to appeal to the youth vote, especially with, I know that we're going to talk about it later, with this conversation that Joe Biden had with Cardi B, which was just Cardi B yelling at him and Joe Biden deflecting.
let's talk about it now, I mean, like, I feel like that would have been exciting to have involved in the DNC, to be honest, And I think, like, we always go back to this point of someone trying to be slick online about when Cardi has these moments, like she would always have these moments with Bernie, about politics. And it's like, we've well established that, she was a big history buff in school. And also, it's just like, it's fun hearing someone, who feels real talking about politics, and she is a real avatar for people who probably feel like their voices aren't being heard,
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she is a celebrity who still feels at least connected to what she was before she was a celebrity,
Yeah, she always will have an accessible persona, and that's why we love Cardi B, truly. But my point about that was that should have been incorporated in the DNC. It should have been that Joe Biden spent most of his time in that interview harping on her about why in 2016 we lost the election because 18 to 24-year-olds didn't show up to the polls. But never has he even tried, even recently, to be appealing to us, to get us to the polls. Cardi B slayed him in that conversation. Absolutely slayed him.
I want Black people to stop getting killed and no justice for it. I'm tired of it.
No, she is compulsively herself. So it's nice to see that energy paired with someone like Joe Biden, who was just, a familiar politician we've all known about forever and ever. And again, no one pays this woman to be this funny. And she routinely just slaying me back and forth, including talking about various, very serious things to Joe Biden, which I feel like is a necessary ingredient for him at this point. Like some actual humor that doesn't involve the word malarkey.